In this thought-provoking exploration, we embark on a journey to decipher the elusive yet profound essence of happiness. Drawing on insights from philosophy, psychology, and human nature, we will illuminate the path to a flourishing life, one grounded in reason, authenticity, and the relentless pursuit of one's own values. Along the way, we will challenge the pervasive yet destructive doctrine of altruism, revealing its insidious nature and the harm it inflicts upon individuals and society. In its stead, we will champion the principle of rational self-interest, demonstrating how it fosters genuine compassion, productivity, and personal growth. Prepare to delve into the depths of ethics, to question conventional beliefs, and to emerge with a renewed vision of human potential. This narrative serves as both a guide and an invitation, a call to reclaim your life, to live it on your terms, and to pursue happiness as an active, self-directed, and rational being. Together, we will navigate the labyrinth of human emotions, values, and relationships, and by the end, you will possess a more robust understanding of the core principles that underlie a life well lived. The journey ahead is one of enlightenment and self-discovery, and I am pleased to serve as your guide. Part 1. The nature of happiness. When we discuss happiness, it is essential to understand that it is not some fleeting emotion or a mere byproduct of chance events. Instead, it is an active, enduring state of mind that results from the pursuit and achievement of one's values. In the context of a philosophical discussion, happiness is best defined as a non-contradictory consciousness, the consciousness of living in harmony with one's nature as a rational being. To be truly happy, an individual must be able to identify what they value in life and why they value it. This requires the use of reason, the faculty that distinguishes man from all other living beings. Only through reason can we perceive the facts of reality, conceptualize them, and make rational judgments about what is good for us. The identification and pursuit of values can be thought of as the core of a person's existence, their life's purpose. It is this rational, goal-oriented behavior that allows happiness to emerge as a natural consequence. For example, a man who values learning and mastery of new skills will find happiness in the process of acquiring knowledge, not just in the momentary gratification of solving a single problem. To attain happiness, one must be mindful of the hierarchical nature of values. Some values, such as food and shelter, are more immediate, while others, like love and self-esteem, require longer-term efforts. This hierarchy means that our choices have a cumulative effect, and pursuing lower-order values at the expense of higher-order ones can lead to an unfulfilled life. Remember, happiness is an effect, not a cause. It is the result of a life well lived, in which one's actions are guided by reason and grounded in reality. Seeking happiness as a primary goal, without understanding the process through which it is achieved, can be counterproductive and result in confusion and disappointment. Part 2. The relationship between reason and happiness. For happiness to be a constant in one's life, reason must be the guiding force. Reason allows us to identify the values that are truly beneficial and discard those that lead to suffering and destruction. To begin, we must distinguish between rational and whim worship, the notion that one's desires alone determine their values. While desires are an essential aspect of human nature, they do not automatically constitute values. Only when we critically evaluate our desires using reason can we discern which ones truly serve our best interests. The power of reason enables us to look beyond the immediate moment, projecting potential outcomes and considering long-term consequences. It is this capacity for long-range thinking that enables a person to build a life of lasting happiness, rather than chasing after short-term pleasures that may have detrimental effects in the long run. Furthermore, reason allows us to learn from our mistakes. As we make choices and encounter their consequences, we gain invaluable knowledge about what does and does not contribute to our well-being. By internalizing these lessons, we refine our values and decision-making process, improving our ability to achieve happiness. Finally, reason is the bridge between perception and action. It takes the raw data of our senses and transforms it into usable, conceptual knowledge. This in turn informs our choices and actions, enabling us to effectively pursue our values and ultimately attain happiness. In this sense, reason is an indispensable tool for the attainment of a good life. Remember, the irrational man who acts without considering the logical implications of his choices will likely stumble from one disappointment to the next, never achieving the happiness he seeks. It is only through the consistent application of reason that true, lasting happiness can become a reality. Part 3. Ethics. When discussing the ethical foundation of a happy life, one cannot ignore the concept of rational self-interest. Often misunderstood or maligned, this principle asserts that each individual should act to promote their own well-being and happiness, using reason as their guide. Contrary to the notion of unbridled selfishness or hedonism, rational self-interest recognizes that our well-being is not served by sacrificing long-term benefits for immediate gratification. Instead, it demands that we consider our actions and their consequences with care and forethought, ensuring that we maintain our lives and enhance our happiness. A person who truly lives by the principle of rational self-interest will neither seek to harm others nor rely on their sacrifice. They understand that human beings are not interchangeable resources, but unique, sovereign entities, each with their own set of values and goals. This principle also acknowledges the importance of self-esteem, which arises from the confidence in one's ability to think and act rationally. A person with healthy self-esteem respects their own judgment and knows that they are the architect of their life. This respect for oneself is the basis for ethical relationships with others. Thus, the pursuit of happiness is inseparable from the pursuit of morality. A virtuous, happy life requires a commitment to reason, rational self-interest, and respect for the autonomy of all individuals. In essence, living rationally means setting your own goals and values, then pursuing them without resorting to force or fraud against others. It is the recognition that you and only you are responsible for your life and your happiness. Part 4. The role of self-esteem. Self-esteem, a vital component of happiness, is the conviction that one is competent to live and worthy of living. It is the recognition that one's life is an end in itself, and that one's well-being is of paramount importance. To cultivate self-esteem, one must first practice self-reliance. This involves taking responsibility for one's choices and their consequences, refusing to seek comfort in the form of dependency on others or self-sacrifice. Second, it requires honesty. One must confront reality, admit to one's errors, and commit to correcting them, rather than hiding behind self-delusions or seeking to manipulate others. Self-esteem also demands independence, a refusal to let the opinions of others dictate one's own values and choices. This is not to say that the judgments of others are worthless, but rather that they must be weighed against one's own reason and values. A common misconception is that self-esteem is akin to arrogance or narcissism. This is a mistake. While a person with healthy self-esteem values their achievements and abilities, they also acknowledge their limits and work to overcome them. Pride, the emotional expression of self-esteem, is earned through rational accomplishment and the practice of virtue, not merely claimed or inflated. Finally, the pursuit of self-esteem must be rooted in a commitment to reality. Living according to one's own judgment and not sacrificing oneself to others is meaningful only if that judgment is based on an accurate understanding of the world. Thus, self-esteem and rationality are deeply intertwined, each supporting and enhancing the other. As you strive for happiness, never forget the importance of a strong, rational sense of self-worth. Part 5. The destructive influence of altruism. The doctrine of altruism, which demands self-sacrifice for the sake of others, is often presented as the epitome of moral virtue. However, a careful examination of its premises reveals it to be a profoundly harmful and irrational philosophy, incompatible with genuine happiness. First, altruism is based on the notion that the individual exists to serve the collective, a mystical entity that transcends the sum of its parts. This denies the reality of individual identity and the fact that each person has their own unique set of values and goals. Second, it implies that reason is insufficient to guide human life, requiring the sacrifice of one's own judgment for the sake of others' needs. This is not only a rejection of man's rational nature, but also a denial of the fact that our own happiness is the best incentive for creating value in the world. Finally, altruism inevitably breeds resentment and conflict, as it fosters an environment in which people vie for status as the most sacrificial. The constant demand for self-denial wears away at one's sense of self-worth and undermines the possibility of meaningful, mutually beneficial relationships. A truly moral, happy life is one in which the individual lives for their own sake, neither sacrificing themselves to others nor demanding sacrifices from them. Instead, they trade values, offering the fruits of their mind and labor in exchange for what others have to offer. A rejection of altruism does not imply a callous disregard for others' suffering. Compassion and benevolence are essential virtues, but they must be practiced voluntarily, not as a moral duty. To help others, one must first have something of value to give. Values achieved through one's own effort and reason. Remember, the essence of morality lies in the recognition of and respect for the fact that reason is man's only means of survival. Only by living rationally and egoistically can one hope to create a life of happiness and fulfillment. Part 6. Conclusion. In conclusion, I urge you to remember that the pursuit of happiness is an ongoing process, not a fixed destination. It requires an unwavering commitment to reason, self-discovery, and personal growth. Do not be swayed by the whims of others or the ever-shifting sands of popular opinion, but remain steadfast in your quest for truth and the values that sustain your life. Take time to reflect on your own goals, desires, and values. Are they truly your own? Are they grounded in reality and consistent with your nature as a rational being? The answers to these questions will be the foundation upon which your happiness is built. Do not let guilt or the insidious whisperings of self-doubt cloud your judgment. Embrace your right to live for your own sake, and nurture your self-esteem through rational thought and action. This is the key to a life of authentic achievement and fulfillment. As you continue on this journey, be ever mindful of the principles discussed here. The nature of happiness, the importance of reason, the primacy of rational self-interest, and the destructive force of altruism. These are the cornerstones of a philosophy that champions the individual and celebrates human potential. I wish you the clarity of thought and strength of character necessary to build a life that embodies the highest ideals of rationality, self-reliance, and joy. In a world often clouded by confusion, it is the pursuit of truth that will lead you to your own personal Eden. Thank you.